with me, Joe. It's Technology Tuesday, which means I'm going to tell you about a technology story. Pretty simple. Today's article comes from interestingendeering.com. The title caught my attention because it's about privacy technology and facial recognition, which if you've been following my channel, I care a great deal about, and you should too. The headline says, privacy tool cloaks faces to trick facial recognition software. I think this is super interesting, and I've seen lots and lots of different technology to attempt to do this. Some of them are like hoods that you can put on, that it's on a sweater that can project lights to like mess with cameras. Others are apps on your phone. There's all sorts of different ways and methods that people are trying to do it, like even clothes, actual physical hoods that distort your face, sunglasses that you can wear, that type of thing. But this algorithm promises to not really mess with your pictures, to make them still look like you, but also trick facial recognition. It's named after Fawkes, as in Guy Fawkes from V for Vendetta. Super interesting. Let's jump right into the article. Ever since the Cambridge Analytica scandal broke in 2018, this was a Facebook data, misuse. The use of private individual data by large corporations has been a global issue of top concern. Yeah. Screw you, Facebook. Now, as part of an increasingly desperate bid to retain our privacy in this digital age, researchers have, at the University of Chicago's Sand Lab, developed a tool that can cloak our images by slightly, almost imperceptibly, so sneaky, altering them so they can't be picked up by facial recognition software. I find this really interesting, to keep our images kind of the same, keep our face looking to a casual observer not changed, but tricking facial recognition algorithms. And this actually highlights a problem with artificial intelligence and facial recognition, which I'll get into at the end of this article. So there's a vendetta against facial recognition firms. The tool, dubbed Fawkes, was named after the Guy Fawkes masks worn by groups like Anonymous and inspired by the Alan Moore graphic novel V for Vendetta. Fawkes uses artificial intelligence, or AI, to slightly change tiny features on your face. To a casual observer, there will be no difference to facial recognition software. It can completely remove its main function, however, which is, of course, to recognize an individual and match them to their data. Seen here are some pictures that they've run through the Fawkes algorithm that have been slightly altered. You can see on the left side, the original picture, and on the right side, the cloaked version. I'm going to zoom in here. And in looking at them, just from quick glances, I really can't see many changes that have been made. One thing that I can see are slight alterations in skin color. I can see some slightly darker variances. There's some lightly lighter, some lighter, some more light variances between the two. And then we can see here, they also have a webcam or a kind of grainy picture that they've altered as well. I think they're also kind of enhancing lines on faces, making things a little bit longer, just slightly, so that it messes with the algorithms. The Fawkes tool could prove to be particularly useful for social media users. Earlier this year, the New York Times reported that facial recognition from firm Clearview AI collected up to 3 billion images from sites like Facebook and YouTube without users' express consent in order to test its software. So likely, if you're on Facebook, you're in the Clearview AI database and you have really no way to tell. Fawkes, in effect, could give social media users a layer of protection against such invasive practices, the researchers say. The tool cloaks the user's face by adding an invisible layer, making facial recognition software believe that the cloaked face is a completely different person when compared to the original image. Once again, presented from the Sand Lab, we have a cloaked image of Barack on the right and the normal image of Barack on the left. Just looking at it, it looks like they might have made his nostrils and nose a little bit wider. Maybe they made his eyes slightly bigger. It looks like they definitely messed with his tone, made him slightly darker. I think his ears look a little bit pulled out to the side. Just some slight alterations that, I'm not even sure I'm correct on this. These are just guesses based on just observations of looking at this picture. What we are doing is using the cloaked photo in essence like a Trojan horse to corrupt unauthorized models to learn the wrong way about what makes you look like you and not someone else, Ben Zhao, a professor of computer science at the University of Chicago who worked on the Fawkes software, explained to The Verge in an interview. Once the corruption happens, you are continuously protected no matter where you go or where you are seen, he continued. Because if you train the algorithm incorrectly, you can't untrain AI algorithms. That's the one downside to AI, and what people don't seem to understand is that they're not really that intelligent. They're just trained to do hyper-specific things like recognize faces. So if you train it with bad data, that isn't exactly your face, then they can't recognize you in the future. But what's more interesting here and why this really excited me is that they have a 100% success rate. 100% success rate. I can't even think of anything that has a 100% success rate. That's super rare. According to the team from the University of Chicago, Fawkes has shown a 100% success rate against some of the most advanced facial recognition services, including Microsoft's Azure Face, Amazon's Recognition, and Face++ by Chinese tech company Megvii, which gives me a little bit of hope if they can trick the Chinese software, because the Chinese software is super advanced. The team behind Fawkes published a paper on their Fawkes algorithm earlier this year. Late last month, however, they released Fawkes as a free software for Windows and Mac. I've linked it in the description below if you do want to check it out. I'm not going to do it on the show. They report that it has already been downloaded more than 100,000 times. And despite everything else that's going on in the world, it seems online privacy is still an important concern for people all over the world, and it's only going to get worse from here. You should be concerned about your privacy, about how your data is being harvested and used and monetized against your will. You're being made into a product without even realizing it. So download the Fawkes facial recognition messer-upper and maybe try to, I don't know if you can plug it into Facebook in some way, but try to run it on all your photos on Facebook, because it won't actually alter your face where you can tell. It'll just slightly alter it, making you non-recognizable to these algorithms, which I think is awesome. So I said I wasn't going to show you on the show, but I just downloaded the application file, so I'm going to open it here on my Mac and see what happens. So here's Fawkes. Here's the user interface on Mac. It is very basic. It wants to look at my photos. We're going to take this photo of me, which is what I always use, run it, protect selected images, running Fawkes. Says it's going to take under 2 minutes. I assume it should take only a second here. Bloop. It says that the image has been protected. So now if I go to my pictures and reopen this back up, it looks exactly the same to me. I haven't seen any changes whatsoever. I wish I would have made a duplicate of it so that we could see what happened, but I did not. But you see this picture all the time, and it still looks exactly like me, where you wouldn't even be able to tell. So that's been today's Joe Show. What do you think about your privacy? Do you care about it? Let us know in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it. How concerned about your personal face privacy are you? Not concerned at all? A little concerned? You think this is a cool piece of technology? Would you download Fawkes? Whatever you want to talk about, let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, that's been today's Tech Tuesday. If you want more information on Fawkes, you can check the description because I linked it for you there, as I said. Until next week, you can send tech stories to hijoeshow@gmail.com. Come back tomorrow for Window Wandering Wednesday, where I look out windows from around the world and just talk about headlines and the news, what's going on in the world, mainly around business and technology, but also some cool stuff like ice cream. Until next time, I love you.